Anticipation is growing for the first U.S. presidential debate. Julia Benbrook joining us now from outside the Atlanta venue where Joe Biden and Donald Trump will be going head-to-head. Julia, thank you for joining us. This is a matchup we've seen before. I'm wondering, though, how this debate will be different than others we've seen in the past.
Well, first of all, this debate is happening months earlier than those in the past. Televised presidential debates between general election candidates have always started in September or in early October, dating back to the first one in 1960. The venue is also going to be different. In recent years, these presidential debates have been hosted at college campuses, and this one will be at CNN studios here in Atlanta. There's no studio audience, and that could be a big one for former President Donald Trump, who typically really feeds off of a big audience. It'll be interesting to see how both of these candidates navigate that. And if you remember during the debate in 2020 between these two, this is what that's a rematch of. There was a lot of talking over each other. There even got a reaction out of Biden as Trump kind of continued to interrupt him. So those mics are actually going to be muted this time around unless it's the candidate's turn to speak. Now, no props, no pre-written notes are allowed, but they are going to have a notebook, a pen, and a bottle of water. It's a 90-minute debate hosted by CNN's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. There will be 2 commercial breaks, but campaign staff will not be allowed to interact with their candidate during those breaks.
Okay, Julia, and what are you learning about each candidate's debate strategy and preparation process ahead of this?
Yeah, we'll start with preparation. Biden has been at Camp David for about a week now, participating in discussions and mock interviews, while Trump has kind of shunned this traditional debate prep approach. He has participated in some informal briefings, but he's also kept up his campaign schedule full of interviews and rallies and things like that. Now, when it comes to strategy, the Biden team is really encouraging him to speak about domestic issues like abortion rights and the economy, but they also know that foreign policy has been a huge part of his term, and they feel like that's a place where they can win over voters when it comes to drawing that contrast with Trump. They're looking to say that he is too reckless to lead the country right now. Now, the Trump team is encouraging the former president to stray away from airing his grievances and instead to focus in on kitchen table issues like the economy, crime, and inflation. That's an area where they really believe that he has the upper hand.
So we've been mentioning that this debate is taking place in the key battleground of Georgia. How are the two candidates working to reach voters there?
Well, back in 2020, Biden won Georgia by a narrow margin, and that was a big deal because he was the first Democratic presidential candidate to do that in nearly 3 decades. This time around, both Biden and Trump are trying to gather support here. This is one of those battlegrounds that the Trump team is really putting a focus on, along with Arizona and Nevada. Now, the Biden campaign and allied groups have spent $16.5 million in advertising here in the state, and that's nearly 5 times as much as Republicans. So Democrats are saying that that shows they're committed to really winning Georgia.
Okay, thank you so much, Julia. That is Julia Benbrook. Thanks again.